all of those heading for the door, I have some really important information if you want to just wait until after questions. Try to keep you here as an enticement. Thank you, Barry. Sounds like significant challenges. We've gone through today, as you can imagine, listening to all the presentations, our theme of tall and sustainable, I think, have bracketed themselves with the human issues. We heard that today in the kinds of places we're creating, urban environments, densification, height being a big part of that, and at the other end, kind of technical solutions, and how do we master getting more and more integrated, more and more efficient. And I think today's last session here talked about that broad range. So I'd like to open it up for questions for our presenters. Any hands at this late hour? I don't see any. I'm gonna, oh, there's one. Is there a mic that can be passed back?
It's Mike Wilford from Arab. I just wanted to make a comment on the throwaway remark about throwing out the code book. I'm sure Ron would agree with me that when we're talking about seismic design of high-rise buildings, it's important that we do throw away the code book, because actually following the prescriptive requirements of the code actually is both uneconomic and in some cases unsafe. The codes simply were not designed for buildings of the sort of height we're now talking about and the structural form. So if that's any enticement to come to our workshop tomorrow afternoon, I hope it works. Thank you.
I would agree. It's going to be a great presentation and a good dialogue, so anyone who's not going to the building tours, please come. Any other questions? I have one thought as I sort of set up this this conclusion about the human side and the technical side and the integration. If you could each just, if you'd like, a comment about how can we do this quicker and better together. I think we've got a big challenge in front of us in the world today with the enormous construction. Are there any final thoughts from either of you on, or any of you on how we can become more integrated, more synonymous with the end goals of projects that are breakneck speed, changing while under construction? Those things are fairly normal in our business today. Anyone have a thought or two on that?
I'll give you one quick thought, which is that I mentioned this morning that the change of pace in the world about sustainability is so rapid that buildings that we designed a few years ago, which are under construction before the whole wave of sustainability began, are retrofitting mid-construction to achieve that goal, because of its importance and because clients, tenants, everybody is demanding it. So I think that it's a very good question because the pressures on us and the rate of change is enormous, and I think the best we can do in a collaborative way is to bring everybody in right away, first thing, work together from the beginning. And I don't have a specific answer of exactly what we do, but I do want to reinforce that it is a huge problem because of this rate of change in the way we're doing everything we're doing, and as I showed in the pictures, the rate of change in the way people are perceiving tall buildings. So
I think we have another aspect to that. It does require a sense of teamwork and a group that is determined to work together, and that's with we've had some very, very good teams with Ron and CB Engineering on the project in San Francisco, and we were able to react to that. But I think it's all layered over by the increasing cost of these buildings at a time when the things that we're doing, a lot of things we're doing in buildings are just escalating that cost, and it's getting out of reach of so many people, whether it's residential or office or whatever. I mean, even, you know, any aspect. And I think that that's something that really, those numbers are so tight and it's so difficult to achieve what you want to achieve that it leads to things like we have to put in 100,000 square feet or things that do change mid-range. And it's very difficult, when you look at home prices in California, for instance, and the ability to deliver something that people can afford. And so I think that aspect is what's really fueled the toughness, and it means everybody has to work together, be realistic.
Steve?
Yeah, I think Ron mentioned it as well, and I think as designers and professionals, we have to continually, it's going to sound a little cliche, we have to sort of change and challenge the status quo. I mean, any of us who own design companies, when we have younger members of our firm come to us with solutions maybe that they've done at least a dozen times, I think it warrants taking that opportunity to really challenge them to come up with something different. And I think if you create that environment within your own firm, it begins to get a little bit infectious, and you can take that same sort of esprit de corps and mode of thinking into the construction aspects, because John's right. I mean, the cost of structure in the markets that we're working on, it used to be that the parts equaled the sum of the whole, and now it doesn't. I mean, it's really trading, at least superstructure costs in New York in particular is trading like a commodity. I mean, it's really a price that's not anything about what's in the job, but really about what people feel like charging. Which is interesting to the cost side, though. It's giving us the ability to try a lot of different things, because the paradigms are really changing when you've got, the project that I presented was, structural cost was $150 a square foot. I mean, so at that cost and at that price, when it doesn't really matter what's in the job, there's really the money to get creative. So we're in a strange time because everybody's so busy and there is so much work out there. So, yes.
I just perhaps want to amplify some of the things that Jeff said earlier, but we all look for innovation, and we touched on structural performance stuff, we talked about height, but I think one of the really important things is sort of on the continuum of our growth in sustainability or innovation, that we really need to pay attention to greater dialogue with building officials, students, practitioners. We're really all in this together, and I think we are actually seeing this great demand to do great things, but in doing so, we really can't be fighting against each other, because the level of information that we're all trying to assimilate is happening at such a remarkable rate that I think the only way that we can continue to see change in the next 10 or 20 years will be if we're all in this together.
Any other thoughts? Well, thank you all the speakers. I think what I've certainly learned is that we are in this transition period. We're going from the old way to the new way. It takes a tremendous amount of energy. You've described that. You've inspired us, and thank you for your presentations. I do have some mementos to give you, but before everybody runs out, here's the information that you need. All of those joining us at the Beachfront Hotel, the buses are leaving at just outside the registration area. So the red counters basically that you signed in, just out those doors. The buses will be here at 5:45 and they'll start shuttling people out. Make sure you bring your tickets. You will not get on the bus unless you have a ticket. We're sold out, but it should be a fun event. So that's it. Thanks for coming.